Welcome to Capital Care's Safe Visitation Practices. Wearing a face mask is another tool to help prevent the spread of COVID-19. It hasn't been proven that masks protect the person wearing it, but it can help protect people from being exposed to your germs. Therefore, we ask that you supply and bring your own mask or face covering and wear them while visiting at the center. Wear your masks or face coverings at all times indoors. If you are visiting outdoors, wear your mask or face covering when physical distancing cannot be maintained. And remember, masks add protection, though they do not replace other preventative measures. Continue physical distancing and practice good hand hygiene by washing your hands with soap and water or using an alcohol-based hand sanitizer for at least 20 seconds, and stay home when sick. Please remember to bring multiple face coverings in a sealed plastic bag with you to your visits. This way, you're able to put on a clean mask if you had to remove your mask during your one-to-one visit if it becomes soiled or wet or for another reason. Please note that masks are to be worn at all times, but if you feel they interfere with the visit, please speak to the care team for further information. While masked, you can hug and hold the resident's hand. Please watch as Dr. Hinshaw, Alberta's Chief Medical Officer, demonstrates how to use a non-medical mask.
So we're going to talk through now the steps of how to properly wear a mask. The very first thing to do is to wash your hands well and thoroughly. Make sure that you have clean hands before you put the mask on. The next thing you do, you pick the mask up with your clean hands and you put it on, putting the ear loops over your ears, and then making sure that you adjust it so that it covers both your nose and your mouth, so that it covers half of your face. So you can do that, you have to pull it up and down and make sure that the sides are snug to the sides of your face. While you're wearing the mask, it's really important to remember to not touch your face. If you touch the outside of your mask after you're touching other things in the environment, you can contaminate the mask. It's also really important to continue to not touch your eyes or to scratch your nose underneath the mask, because you can introduce contamination that way too. So while you're wearing the mask, it can be a reminder, which can be a good thing, to keep your hands away from your face. When you're finished wearing the mask, the first thing you need to do before you take the mask off is clean your hands well. You can wash your hands for 20 seconds with soap and water, or you can use hand sanitizer. With those clean hands, you can take the mask off, and then you need to make sure what you're thinking about is that mask now has any of the germs that you might have put into it as you've been breathing. So if you've been wearing the mask for a few hours, it might be slightly damp. If it's a cloth mask, ideally you would have a bag that you can put that cloth mask into, seal it up, and make sure that it goes into the laundry when you get home. If it's a disposable mask, you need to put it directly into the garbage. Make sure that you're thinking about that mask as something that could possibly be a source of infection for other people, so you need to dispose of it right away. The next thing you need to do is wash your hands again. As soon as you've finished getting rid of the mask, make sure that you're cleaning your hands, because you've just touched that object that could potentially have had germs on it. And when you've finished washing your hands, then you're good to go. And you can put on a new mask. If you're wearing a cloth mask, they can get damp or moist after a few hours, so it is a good idea to change them regularly throughout the day if you are wearing a mask for the whole day. If you're wearing a disposable mask, make sure that you change it. If it gets damp, if it gets dirty, then it should be taken off and replaced again. So again, it's important to remember masks are a tool, and it can be helpful if you're using the right tool for the right job in the right way.
The resident you are visiting may at some time be placed on precautions or isolation due to various concerns. When this occurs, you will notice one of these signs on their door, which indicates that those entering the room must wear the appropriate personal protective equipment, also known as PPE. Please see the nurse on the neighborhood who will walk you through the process on properly putting on and taking off the PPE. There will be posters on how to put on and take off PPE in the resident area to remind all those who are entering and exiting the resident's room who has been placed on precaution or isolation. Follow these steps on the posters. Please note that PPE may be provided by the center, or depending on availability, you may be asked to provide your own PPE items. Here are a few friendly reminders. Read and follow Capitol Care's policy on safe visitation during COVID-19 pandemic found on Capitol Care's webpage. Assess your risks of unknown exposure to COVID-19 prior to planning a visit with the resident. Use your best judgment to determine if your risk of unknown exposure is appropriate to protect the resident. Bring multiple clean masks in a sealed plastic bag to each visit. Review and complete the designated family support person and visitor screening tool to ensure you are safe to visit, and please, only visit the residents you are visiting. Here is what to expect when you arrive. You will be required to put on one of the masks you brought to the visit. Your pre-arranged visit will be confirmed by the screener. You will complete the designated support person and visitor screening tool. You will have your temperature checked, and the screener will review the safe visiting practices, including how to wear your mask properly. You will need to log in and out of each visit. Thank you for taking the time to review the Safe Visiting Practices video to ensure we are keeping you, the staff, and the residents safe.